Hello and welcome back to Aetheral Space 13.51, Stagehands. We are back.
And what better way to be back than to jump right into it, shall we, readers?
Yeah.
Several years ago, Jakob, Vakat's voice came over the communicator. You in position? As he sprinted, Jakob put a finger to their ear. Just 1 second. This was a nice hallway. Soft carpet and paintings lining the walls. Soft lighting emanating directly from the ceiling. Doors laser... I can hear you breathing. You're a breather boy, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm a fucking organism.
Doors laser carved from apex wood of all things, even if that seemed like a waste. Even the guards were clad in armor of smooth white metal like sculpted wax. The one at the end of the hallway raised a plasma bow at the incoming Jakob, a cry of alarm already sounding out. Serena, get it done. Jakob's gait changed just slightly as Serena took the wheel, dropping to the ground and sliding under a plasma bolt that would have taken her head off. With a spark of violet aether, she tore a chunk free from the wall, forming a longsword she used to slice her enemy's bow in half. The guard didn't just give up, of course. Whipping out a baton, he swung it at the side of Serena's head. She grinned. Oh, Bruno? Got it. The baton bounced off of Bruno's force field, sending the guard staggering backwards and... Boss, your turn. Jakob sealed the deal with a hefty swing of a clay warhammer. The guard collapsed onto the floor, their chest plates shattered. The only sound remaining in the hallway was Jakob's soft exhale of breath. He put a finger to their ear. You fucked it up.
What?
Oh wait, is he or they?
Well, it's their body.
Right, but Jakob, you've been using they thus far, and then you said he put a finger to their ear.
No, I said it before as well.
Oh, okay. Again, he put a finger to their ear. Okay, he said. We're in position. Good to hear. I've got Desire and Sorrow keeping watch on the roof. Tybalt's got the ground floor covered. All we need to do is make sure nobody interrupts Erica while she's taking on the Monarcha. Nobody gets past you. Understood? Of course. Jakob nodded, leaning against the wall. I have to say, though, I'm not thrilled to be playing backup for Erica. Benefits of seniority, I guess. I'd feel better about it if she didn't have seniority over everyone. It's not like there's any glory to be had here anyway, though. We're just softening the place up for Nebula 4's debut tomorrow. Old Westmore needs a success to start on. We're stagehands, you know? Westmore also was a Nebula?
It was Nebula of Pandershi Foundation, yeah.
What?
Nebula 4.
Lucifer? Lucifer Westmore?
Yeah.
But he's not anymore, right?
He's not now. That's why there wasn't a Nebula 4 until
But he also knew Palutine?
Yeah, and he was in the Seven Blades.
So what the fuck is going on, Tan? Who is this guy? You're making this up.
Yeah, the whole story is made up.
Fuck you. Well, Westmore needs a success to start on. We're stagehands, you know? Right, stagehands. It was true. If you listen to the set management, the operatives they trained were among the finest in the UAP, surpassed only by the most elite ultraviolets. Even so, though, the skills they cultivated weren't ones suited to plain sight. They worked in the background, behind the scenes. Like Kot said, stagehands. Their job was to pave the way for real people to walk upon. Isn't Ultraviolet's Sobek's group?
I think so, yeah.
Fuck yeah, let's go!
They've been mentioned a couple times in mainline as well. I like it. It's a cool name.
It is good. Present day. The moments right before an operation were always the most tense. Nothing had happened yet, and that meant anything could happen. It was almost as if everything was happening. Every failure, every screw-up, every disaster, all at once, and you just had to stand there and weather the storm. Once, Marcus had thought this anxiety was just because he was an inexperienced rookie. Now, he understood it was just a symptom of the human soul. He returned his pistol to its holster, finally accepting it wouldn't get any more polished. They'd gathered their forces for this operation in the penthouse suite of the Mia Mandala Hotel, a flying establishment with an excellent view of the city of Azumha. From here, they could spy their quarry. Even from here, he could see it, his cogitant brain allowing him to sort through the visual mess of the city below with ease. Their enemy had a flying headquarters of their own, an ancient temple of brick and marble and antiquity, making a constant journey through the city streets. Even if Dragon Hadrian wasn't there in person, and being honest, he almost certainly wasn't, there would be members of the Tree of Might. They could cut down on his allies. Wouldn't it be just cut down his allies?
Well, no, because he'll still have more. Not everyone's going to be there, is what it means. It's like, I can cut down on them.
Speaking of which, Marcus's gaze drifted to the Del-Ced siblings, sitting as one by the glass window, looking out at the city with a steely glare. Apparently, they worked as a bounty hunter called the Ventriloquist these days. Apparently, they were willing to help them oppose Hadrian. Apparently, if they met up with Hadrian in person, they'd be able to convince him to abandon the Dawn contest altogether. He didn't buy it, and he knew he wasn't the only one. Morgan Noct was staying close to the pair, hand always near his sword, ready to cut them down if betrayal occurred. The young man had a good sense for these things. Marcus Grace, Morgan Noct, and the dubious Del Seds. If it were just them doing this, Marcus would have judged the mission a failure right here and now. It was a good thing he'd managed to bring in some help then. Beatrice appeared next to him, or rather, his daughter made her appearance known. Her ability had always been good for stealth. He leaned down and kissed the top of her head, ignoring the glare of annoyance she shot at him. "Where's your cousin?" he asked. "Here!" cried a voice from the doors as they slid open. "Here, Uncle Marcus!" Amelia Grace, a lanky girl with messy black hair, ducked through the opening doors and approached. As per usual, Marcus's gut twisted when he saw her. Bright blue contacts and filed-down fangs. No! Wait, is this one of his shitty brothers from the Cogitant family? Because he said uncle, right? And cousin?
Yeah.
Oh no, because is the rest of his family still shitheads?
Well, there's like 2 branches right now.
No! He understood that Annette had been desperate for Dad's approval. Oh, his dad, Edwards. But still, his sister truly was a piece of work. He gave her a one-armed hug. Even though she was barely out of her teens, she was almost as tall as him. "Thanks for making it." She nodded, hair whipping up and down like an over-enthusiastic puppy. "No problem, sir. Family has to help out family. By the way, has there been any more news about Winston?" Grimly, Marcus shook his head. "Nothing yet. If we can pull this mission off, though, if we can make a Toy Musashi supreme, that's going to change. There'll be nobody in the Supremacy we can't find." "Right." Amelia nodded quietly. Looking down at the floor, she realized just how many strangers were in this room. "We'll do it," Beatrice said simply, pulling her cloth mask up over her mouth. "If it comes down to it, I can use my ability to sneak up on Hadrian and—" "No," Marcus replied sternly. "Don't get cocky and don't get reckless. Understand?" She looked up at him, blue eyes glittering. Isn't a word. "Understood," Beatrice relented. He'd have to keep an eye on her all the same, Marcus knew. Despite the way she'd always gotten exasperated at him, she had been closer to Winston than anyone. If it came down to it, she would be cocky, and she would be reckless. Still, he had a good feeling. Since this Dawn contest had started, Dragon Hadrian had been running rampant, using the element of surprise again and again to cut through the rules and keep them on the back foot. Now, though? Now it was their turn to surprise him. "They'll probably begin their attack from the roof," Dragon Hadrian said, hologram slouched over on the half-rebel throne. "You'll want it covered, understand?" Fino nodded dutifully, even as he bowed on one knee before the Zero Branch. Despite his personal feelings, he understood what an honor it was to be given this task. He would not fail to perform it, nor to appreciate it. It was one more rung on the ladder to eliminating Ruth Blaine. "If I may be so bold, sir," he spoke, crimson eyes looking up at the Tree of Might's leader, "why do you not dispatch them yourself? Your strength has been witnessed. Their might is insubstantial compared to your own." Hadrian narrowed his eyes, just slightly. Had Fino overstepped? No. Hadrian closed them again. "Even though I won't be needing to fight the Crown," Hadrian finally replied, "all of the other remaining contestants are dangerous enemies. The worst thing you can do is to tire yourself out in a dangerous fight, then have to face someone else right after. At that point, all you've got are fumes." And yet, Fino thought, that's exactly what a warrior would do. Should do. "I feel there's more to it, Zero Branch," Fino said back, a sliver of impertinence in his tone. "You know the attack is coming, so the right of ambush is yours. Yet you're simply allowing it to happen, watching from afar? Why do you not shed blood?" For a good long moment, the distant Dragon Hadrian just glared down at Fino. Then, however, he sighed. "There's someone among the attackers who you're absolutely forbidden from killing. Do you remember?" "I do," Fino nodded. "That person has a certain idea about me." Fino furrowed his brow. "What idea is that?" "None of your business!" Hadrian snapped. "But it's probably correct. So, no matter what, I cannot let them come in contact with me." His hologram flickered out of existence, his voice following a moment after, leaving time only for some stray discarded words. "Not until all of this is over." Popcorn.
Bruno lay back on the windowsill, looking out at the cityscape of Azumhar. His mouth was a flat lit iron and his gaze was hard iron. Before the hour was out, he'd be down in the temple of the Tree of Might. Before the hour was out, he'd be fighting for his life. Before the hour was out, maybe, just maybe, he'd be face to face with Dragon Hadrian, because he had a certain idea about him. Since all this had started, hell, ever since Elysian Fields, Dragon had gone to absurd lengths just to avoid his former crewmates. At first, Bruno hadn't understood why. Had he simply discarded them? Had the shooting star abandoned everything that wasn't immediately useful to it? No. Bruno didn't know if it were a hope, or a delusion, or something true, but he had an idea. An idea that, if Dragon Hadrian found himself in the same room as his old friends, he'd have no choice but to listen to them. You seem aggravated, Atoy Musashi.
Wait, when did Atoy Musashi get downgraded?
Oh, well, he doesn't know. He doesn't know that. This is what he's hearing. Anyway.
No! Heartbreaking.
There you go.
Oh, he's back. I legit got sad. I was like, what did you do to Ian here?
We're not like that anymore.
I was about to break my heart.
The summer of our friendship is over, whatever it is.
No!
I'm making changes in my personal life, Musashi.
No!
You seem aggravated, Atoy Musashi. I intoned from the corner, his long shadow stretching over the room, and over Musashi, standing before an impromptu command table. A holographic representation of the Tree of Might's temple floated in front of him, cast by his script, and his eyes were focused intently on it. Not aggravated, Musashi murmured, face illuminated only by the hologram. Tense. Are they that different? They are, Musashi nodded. Aggravation comes from failure, while tension comes from anticipation of success. Then you believe you will succeed? I must, Musashi replied. They must. Dragon Hadrian has wrapped his grip tightly around this dawn contest. If we don't pry his fingers free, we'll be at the mercy of all the tricks he's prepared. He glanced over his shoulder at the fell beast, and I can guarantee he's prepared many tricks. Is that why you've chosen to trust Bruno Delsaid, Serena Delsaid? It's not a matter of trusting them, Musashi grunted, returning his gaze to the floating temple. At the first sign of betrayal, Morgan will strike them down. Half the reason they're in this operation is to serve as a human shield for those who are loyal to me. But if I want to defeat Hadrian, I'll need to come at him with tricks of my own. That is unlike you. Exactly, Musashi murmured. Being unlike myself is the only way I can catch Hadrian off guard. If the person who succeeds has become someone unlike you, then what is the point? Musashi didn't answer that straight away. He just hunched over the table, sighed, rubbed the bridge of his nose. Of his nose, not his nose, his nose. I'm so tired. When was the last time he'd rested of his own volition? Right now, he finally said, the victory is all that matters. Once I sit the throne, I can return to being me. Discard any of the filth I've accumulated along the way. Murderer. He'd lost his chance to take any other path 2 years ago. Musashi tapped the screen of the script and spoke, his voice echoing through a distant penthouse. Temple is in place. Begin the operation. Popcorn.
The attack came from above. As one, they leapt off the roof of the hotel, guidance packs strapped to their backs. Morgan knocked, Marcus Grace, his daughter Beatrice, his niece Amelia, Bruno and Serena Delsaid. The repulsors in their packs allowed them to weave through traffic as they fell towards the temple, leaving white trails of haze hanging in the air behind them. The Tree of Might was prepared for them. A volley of projectiles flew up from the roof of the temple. Plasma shots, punch-point bullets, aether projectiles. Enough to shred most living things to non-existence. But not enough here. Twin shields sprouted into existence, invisible ones created by Bruno Delsaid, and barriers of black fog forged by Morgan Noct. The projectiles battered against the shields like they were an umbrella, and with the moment afforded to her, Amelia Grace took aim. A blinding blue great bow appeared in her hands, and she pointed it down towards the ground. "Delusional arrowhead!" she mouthed, voice swallowed by the wind. She unleashed her own rainfall, a storm of blue arrows striking down at the foot soldiers of the Tree of Might. Where they struck, cries erupted, mingling anger and terror. Pure emotion pooled out and intensified by Amelia's ability. The defense of the Tree of Might faltered, pragmatism poisoned by runaway passions. In the midst of the chaos on the roof, glaring up at the incoming intruders, stood Pheno. The branch of the Tree of Might raised his chainsaw aether armament, third humor, and, as if on cue... Ill humor. And, as if on cue, vivid red blood began to belch forth from its vents. With a twitch of Pheno's finger, the blood crystallized into spears and hovered over his shoulders, aimed right at the descending attackers.
Piercing blood. He sees Bruno, he's like, you Itadori Yuji!
But the attack came from below, too. The temple shook as rockets struck its underside, launched by 3 personnel carriers that had suddenly pulled out of traffic. Bright red vehicles, their logo emblazoned on their sides. Atoy Muzazi hadn't had much time to put this operation together, but some mercenaries were always willing to work on short notice, as long as enough money was involved. The phases and their allies landed on the roof. Shooting Star Security Solutions? Latched onto the underbelly with mighty cables? Aren't they operating out of the UAP?
They're a big company. They have branches.
You're allowed to do that? They don't kill you?
Yeah.
Interesting. No more stagehands, Bruno thought, grasping blades of will. Tonight... tonight, we're taking the spotlight. Is it Serena? I'm confused.
That was actually just Bruno.
Tonight, we're taking the spotlight. Nailed it.
Thank you.
Shooting Star Security Solutions, they're back!
Everyone's favourites. Deer comes at that, like, walks back and he's got like a mechanical chest. He's like, you thought you killed me, Dragon.
He's like, I always was a boxer. I didn't hear no bell.
I learned boxing techniques to help slow my blood, so I didn't bleed out.
If you had Deer come back and say, I didn't hear no bell, that would go hard. I'm just saying. Oh, I loved Deer. He was cool. Alright. We have some questions for you, Tanhoney.
Okay.
Answer
Where am I? I'm like being interrogated.
Yeah. Alright. Question number 1 for the guy known as Honey.
Okay. I'm not known as that, but okay.
Sorry, I have to find it again.
So you don't have a question, you're just making them up!
No, people keep asking stuff when I have my...
gold will all beat fucking death, okay?
Oh my god. Left off here, okay. Weiser asks, how did Avaman first become aware of Skipper's identity? And how did Skipper know Avaman would come running if he learns where Skipper was?
Sorry? I didn't hear you.
How did Avaman first become aware of Skipper's identity? That's part 1 of the question.
Well, from like the point where Skipper started making moves again after like coming out of his amnesia spell, Avaman would have been aware from there. And that's when he would have started sniffing around, so whenever he got too loud, Avaman would soon run in. And they had a run-in prior to the story, where he saw the whirlwind abilities in action, but he got away.
I was going to say, how did Skipper know Avaman would come running? So I assume that's that.
Yeah.
So Land confirmed, I'm pretty sure we already got the answer that he's like 30, but how old is Ashdel Durin actually?
He's like 30.
Yeah, okay.
But he is near death now.
Rurum is asking about Mariner 13, who I don't remember. I think it's another
Mariner
contestant.
13. But their deal basically is they're from a planet that's all ocean. They're like an aquatic scurrant in that they're designed to live underwater, like a merman. So to come, but obviously, when you have to live in water all day, you are not taken into account by the rest of the galaxy generally. So they've come out the ocean. They wear a big diving suit full of water. And they fight with a giant anchor for their home flat town.
Nautilus.
And they have like water control, like a hydrokinesis ability.
That's fun. One more from Rurum. Also, I know you, Tanhoney, are a fan of Metal Gear, having Gregory to Revolver Ocelot before. Is there any other stuff that inspired you from that series and made its way into Aetheral Space? For example, any of the clone stuff with Giovanni, similar to Leon Font's Terrible's aging?
I have to be honest, there's a little bit of that in Giovanni, but there's also Homelander in Giovanni.
Yeah, yeah.
A mix of Leon Fonterrible and Homelander.
Nice. That's pretty good. Any other inspirations, though, in the story?
Metal Gear inspirations? Well, the cyborg ninjas. So I suppose Muzazi there comes in a little bit. You're that ninja.
Alright, and then...
And there's that one girl in Arc 10, one of Hamza's people, who is sort of a psycho mantis-like, in terms of aesthetic at least.
Okay. And then, there was one other interesting question. Not counting Henry's ability that forced awakenings, have any Supremes ever awakened?
Yes.
Ooh. Can we get details on that, or is that secret?
You can't.
Oh, it's all coming together! Tanhoney!
What?
Interesting. That's all I have to say. Well, thank you guys for listening, and we'll see you next time. Bye!
Bye!